Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going to take you through the Garden of Hong Kong and then to Kowloon Peak to have a look at the Kowloon Peninsula from above. So to my left is what we call Hebe Haven. You can probably see a lot of yachts and boats moored. Sai Kung is considered like the garden of Hong Kong. Traditionally more fishing villages. So you can see on the left there all the yachts, dockyards, dry docks, repair shops, shipyards. Here you go, better view. So normally all the boats will be moored there and they'll head out through that channel out to the nicer beaches. So typically the eastern part of Hong Kong, further away from the Pearl Delta, the water quality is better. Just simply from the silt and all that from the river doesn't lend to very clear water. So this side of Hong Kong, you know, you've got coral reefs and so on and so forth. And the beaches are fantastic. Beautiful white sand and so on. Please excuse the old photo of Big Wave Bay in Sai Kung. Here is a better one. I just realized I've only covered the land and not the waters around Hong Kong. So I was fortunate enough to attend a Royal Geographical Society lecture recently, and I mean August 2023. The title was aptly Marine Biodiversity in Hong Kong by Dr. Baden Russell. He is an Associate Director of the Swire Institute of Marine Science at the University of Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a rich marine biodiversity, accounting for over 25% of the species found in China, even though it comprises less than 1% of the coastal marine waters. Incredibly, it has over 6,000 species and counting. Part of the reason for this rich diversity has to do with the mix of waters and currents around Hong Kong. There is the freshwater discharge from the Pearl River, and in addition there are 3 different ocean currents which affect Hong Kong during the year. So there's a discharge from the Pearl River to the west, mixing it up with the oceanic waters to the east. In the summer there is the warm Hainan current. In the winter there is the warm Kuroshio current from the Luzon Strait. There is also the cold Taiwan current in the winter. A true melting pot, if you like. But I'm no marine biologist, so let's get back to the ride. The road has just been widened, you know, it used to be very narrow and lots of traffic jam, but you can see now here it's 2-lane dual carriageway. We'll be heading up to the hills to the right up there later, and we can be able to look back on the ridge. This bridge was a dinky bridge years ago. Now it's, like I say, quite a, well, I'll say substantial structure. And this river below us was black, let me ink black. There used to be a dyeing factory just upstream, but that's obviously no more, and the river's quite clean now. Actually did a day trip with one of the universities to test the water quality, etc. Actually quite good. Lots of fishes and turtles in the stream now. So essentially if we carry straight on, we'll come to Clearwater Bay. There's a very nice university there, the HKIST, Institute of Science and Technology. Beautiful campus right by the ocean. Another thing where Clearwater Bay, or more precisely Silver Strand Bay, is infamous for, sadly, is shark attacks. Doesn't happen every year, but when it does happen, it seems to be this part of Hong Kong. So we're going to do a big U-E over this flyover back towards Kowloon. And we're going to be riding up to Kowloon Peak. The Chinese name is entirely different. It's called Fei Ngo Shan, which I think literally translated means flying goose mountain. And so Kowloon Peak, I suppose it forms one of the 9 dragons, if you like. 9 dragons meaning the literal translation of Kowloon. It's like I wouldn't call it a mountain, but a range of hills which separates the city from the country where we are now. Again, everything is relative. This is considered country in Hong Kong. And it'd be more vivid more obvious when I get to the ridge on Kowloon Peak. You'll really see the sort of separation between the city and the countryside. So this division between the city and the country was never more obvious to me until about 30 years ago. I was doing a charity hike in the dark, and really you see that towards the south side it's the city and the bright lights, and then you look towards the north, it's like dark. The contrast was quite breathtaking. So over here you can see it's all pretty much low-rise houses, you know, except in the distance, which is a new town, dormitory town. Essentially wherever the MTR, the underground, reaches, there will be massive development. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing. For years the MTR refused to extend the line. They said there's no people there. But people say, of course, if you extended the network, then, you know, developers will build. So it sounds obvious now. So right in front of me is typical Hong Kong hearse. Not exactly the most dignified mode of transport at the best of times, let alone when it's like a converted truck. So you can see we're over the crest. You can see the city in front of me. Now we're going to head up to the hill to my right to the top there. And hopefully you would agree with me, the view is quite spectacular. Right, Fei Ngo Shan. So the first 1/3 or so of this road is 2 ways. It's residential, and then it becomes 1 way. So I have to be careful though, because quite often you get people hiking or even bicycles flying down in the opposite direction. Okay, here we go. Starts to be 1 way now. So today is exactly a week before New Year's Eve, and I'm actually quite excited. It's a big holiday for us locals. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we won't be celebrating the way we normally do, which is visiting all our relatives and big gatherings and eating and drinking. Still, it's a holiday, so to be enjoyed with your close family. This is not typical Chinese New Year weather though. It normally is dull, grey, drizzly, cold. Today is a beautiful day. Wow, look at that. Oh, see the glider. You probably can't see it with the GoPro, it's too small. But here's a favourite spot for flying remote control gliders. And what's nice about it, it's like you can literally drive right up to, well, you see in a minute, park your car and then fly your plane. You don't have to do any walking whatsoever. And also what's lovely about it here is that, for flying anyway, is that you can fly all year round. Meaning, you know, with gliders it's very nature dependent, right? It depends on the wind strength and the wind direction, etc. Here you can fly all year round because it really, you know, in the summertime you're flying, the prevailing wind is northwest, which is, well, directly in front of us. So you'll be flying, oh, there you go, that's the city. So let me explain. So that's the city there. We're facing roughly, well, in the southwest direction. That's the prevailing wind in the summer. You can see down there, that's the old Kai Tak rail runway. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a strip of land heading in that direction. Lots of cranes on it now. They've, after 20 odd years of closure, they're now, you know, turning, you know, into a residential. Plus, at the very end, there's a passenger ship terminal. So in the summertime, you fly facing this direction, and you know, the wind coming up here hits the slope, and you've got really good lift for your glider. You can fly for hours until you fall asleep. So across the water, across the harbour, that's Hong Kong Island. You can see the very tall building there, that's International Commerce Centre, 118 stories tall. Across the harbour, that's IFC, sister building if you like, that's 88 stories tall. And this is the ridge you see in front of me, which kind of divides the city from the countryside. When I go up this hill, you really see it quite clearly. It's winter, so the wind would typically come from the northeast in that direction, so you fly in that direction. So it's great, I say, you know, all year round you can fly. Obviously, when the wind is, you know, not very strong, there's no point flying a glider. And also, right in front of us there, that's the one of the observatories. So, you know, just get on your app, Google it, and it'll say, okay, and it'll give you very accurate, you know, and location, wind strength, wind direction. So before I even leave the house, I can easily check, is it worth my while to cross the harbour, to drive my car up here to fly. So pretty handy. And then in the distance, you see the bridge from Kowloon, the bridge all the way to basically the new airport in the far distance, probably 25-30 kilometers away. So I'm going to stop now, just walk up the hill and then give you another footage. So, not even 50 meters from where I parked the bike down there, and that's Kowloon. Right on the other side of this ridge, you can see that's the countryside. That's Sai Kung, where we just came from. So you can see in front of us, that's the Hebe Haven, where all the yachts are parked, where they're moored and anchored. You see a black kite there. I thought it was somebody flying a kite, but I think it's actually a black kite. I mean a bird of prey. He's hovering there, waiting for his next meal. So with the wind, I don't know if you can hear it, definitely coming from this direction. Wow, is it a kite or a bird? It's really staying very still relative to the ground. Oh, it is a bird. There you go. It's flapping its wings. Okay, so let's carry on a bit more and show you the ridge. So it's a lovely hike. Sorry for the heavy breathing. It's fairly steep here actually. Right, so you see a lot of the trails, one of the favourite pastimes of Hong Kong. Actually, you can see two of the largest reservoirs by volume in Hong Kong. One is directly in front of me. So you see, if you like, a first bit of water, second bit of water, and in the distance there's a third bit of water. Now that's actually fresh water, and if you can see, I don't know if it's too far away, but you can see the dam blocking the water, of course. So it used to be a chain of islands. They dammed, you know, obviously one or two gaps and made it into a freshwater reservoir. That's called High Island Reservoir. Down there you can see the road we snaked up. Okay, and in that distance, that's Plover Cove Reservoir. Again, not to be mistaken for the ocean. Oh, suddenly you don't hear the wind at all. And maybe I'll stand here and you can see the contrast between the city and the country. So here we are along the ridge. Okay, so to the south, Kowloon City, across the water, Hong Kong Island, and then to the north, country. I suppose it's this ridge of hills is the best green belt you're ever going to get. But again, it's all relative. I mean, to somebody living in Europe or North America, that would look to be very densely populated. Again, I say everything's relative. In the distance you see better shots of the end of the runway, or the old runway, the silver, shiny, low-rise. That's the new passenger ferry terminal. So all that development in front of us there, that sort of bald brown looking, that was the old airport and the terminals and so on and so forth. So the planes used to have to come in, well, depending on the wind direction, either from the seaside or have to come in from the southwest. They'll see the mountain over there. There's a big, like a checkered board on the mountain, Beacon Hill, hence the name. And they'll do a sharp right over the top of Kowloon City and land. So imagine that's you know, a 100-ton jumbo jet having to do a sharp turn and aim from the runway. It was definitely not for the faint-hearted. Some incredible shots of jumbo jets flying over the city. You know, to come in as a kid, you can see people's laundry, you can see people playing mahjong, watching TV. That's how close you were to the buildings when you flew over the top. Really spectacular. So you see, I mentioned the observatory, or one of them there to the left. That's Lion's Rock. Basically we're looking at the lion's backside. The head is on the other side. That's quite a nice hike up there actually. Can't walk up, can't drive up there for sure, but and then in that direction, which I've taken you up before, the two satellite dish ball things at the top of the hill. That's Hong Kong's tallest mountain. That's 957 meters above sea level. Yeah. So Kowloon Peak is the other name for it. You see the rocks up there. A lot of rock climbers that come and practice their skills up here. It's not very tall in absolute terms, but quite technical, and certainly you can learn a lot and work up a good sweat. So many years ago, I was doing a mountaineering course. The teacher misjudged the time. We were halfway up that hill in the dark. And there, you know, no cars come up here, no taxis, so we had to, by the time we got here, it must be 9 p.m, cold, had to walk all the way down the hill to catch a cab home. Anyway, no big deal, I suppose. It's not life and death. No, yeah. Okay, I'll carry on. The hikers. Sorry, that's the observatory, not that one. That one's probably some kind of mobile phone relay station or something. Mistake, apologies. I think we can coast all the way down the hill from here. Be a bit more environmentally friendly. But here's a very nice lookout over Kowloon. Later on in the year, come March and April, when it's very humid and foggy, this takes on an entirely different look. And I've seen there's some incredible footage on YouTube where people are taking time-lapse. It's just like, yeah, all I can say, you just got to see it for yourself to appreciate. So this comes to the end of this episode, and I've covered most of the new territories in Kowloon. Now if there's anybody out there who has suggestions where I should go next within Hong Kong, please let me know. I have one more episode to cover the western part of Hong Kong Island. It should be a short one, as it's geographically a small area. Or maybe I'll take a trip to one of the outer lying islands by the slow ferry. Should be quite interesting. But for now, thank you for staying with me. If you've liked the videos, please like and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.